Hello, sir. Could you help me? Season 2, Season of the Blood, already on the 17th of October. In my head, it's way further. I was expecting November release. Not only is it coming early, they are definitely stacking the features in this one compared to Season 1. Season 1 was quite not having that much content, so they hired a new seasonal designer to pump up Season 2 even more than before. The theme is vampires overrunning Sanctuary. At the behest of their Dark Master, a newly turned army of ravenous vampires set their sights on Sanctuary. Please, this time, there needs to be a Helltide event that actually has vampires in it, not demons, a vampire Helltide. Thank you. Do that. What is all changing though now? Because there's quite some shenanigans coming. First, Renown completely is going to carry over now. Yes. They made us do it in Season 1 again to check if we would be willing to do it after Season 1 another time, and the answer is no, we're not. We're not. Rewards will carry over when completed on any prior character beyond Altars of Lilith and map discovery. That means Paragon points, skill points, potion charges, obol capacity, everything. The whole shebang will carry over. You will not have to grind Renown ever again. On the one hand, that is a very, very good thing. On the other hand, that's a grind missing. It's very annoying, but it was one of the endgame components. So I'm not complaining that they're gone, but maybe find a way to make Renown a mechanic that works. Give us gold or anything, gems, whatever. Because like this, you're taking one feature of the game completely away. And it was an annoying feature, but you got to think about how can you actually still harness the game mechanics you put in as Blizzard, and not just like, yeah, okay, if you're done, you're done. No more dying to pesky fire explosions, ice, lightning, whatsoever. Elemental resistance system will be updated with Season 2 so that your amulet, which gives you 25% on resistances, might finally actually do something, that when you have an item that has lightning resistance or fire resistance, you're not going to flip your shit and say this item is useless. Ha, we got the resistances rolling. Also, the seasonal mechanic will be Vampiric Powers. That is going to be the new thing instead of the Malignant Hearts. So we're slotting blood gems for blood skills or something in that regard, including a new quest line and, interestingly enough, 5 additional endgame bosses. They noticed that Varshan might have been just one boss. After farming Malignant Tunnels, let's say 50 times, and killing Varshan 50 times, you're like, I mean, it would be cool if there was a variety. I mean, I've been okay with 3 bosses. I don't need 5 additional endgame bosses, but having a seasonal mechanic that introduces more than one, it's really good. Especially the aesthetic already of this vampire lord looks very nice in my eyes. He looks like this kind of malformed, deformed, bloated, gluttonous kind of vampire dude, like some noble who got turned, who still has like the fat running on the sides. It's slightly a little bit diminished now due to being turned undead, but all in all, he just has a very good aesthetic, and 5 additional boss skills is nice, especially with the announcement there's a better way to target farm uniques and uber uniques, whatever that means. I mean, if these endgame bosses, these seasonal bosses now have a better chance to actually drop uniques, that would be fantastic. Because that's what you kind of want, right? If I could focus on the seasonal mechanics to get the uniques I'm looking for, if I can kill these bosses, I have 5 bosses. That would mean 1 is for chest, helmet, hands, weapons, jewelry, or defensive, offensive, jewelry, you know, 5 additional bosses. Each boss has a chance to drop a unique, and each boss has a certain type of unique. I mean, count me in. I'll be sitting there. I'll be farming them until I get what I'm looking for, which would be great. Can get my Ring of Mendel target farmed. I won't complain about that. Now, this all sounds good so far already, but it really needs to be executed amazing. The battle pass needs to be a banger, and there needs to be, I don't know if you ever played Warzone, but some kind of world event happening where you have to kill 1 million vampires to get a certain something. There needs to be this drive that punches people in the face and grabs them back in. It's a free update, but you still need to really entice people to create this hype again. They also announced changes to the functionality of status effects, such as vulnerable, overpowered critical strike damage, and on top of that, elemental resistance. But I'm asking myself, changes to the functionality of vulnerable, overpowered, critical strike damage. I mean, overpowered doesn't work with many things, so maybe they're fixing overpower, because overpower can't naturally crit, because stacking overpower with crit might be OP. Then again, if you're stacking overpower, you can't really stack crit. That's not true. You can as a warlock, but it's still like a split thing. And vulnerable in general also doesn't work with overpower. So are they going to change these effects in general, make them weaker, take them out, change all the skills that can interact with them? Because right now I think they're a little bit worried that it goes too far, because a lot of the millions of damage are due to vulnerable, overpower, crit. But I'm a bit worried that they tinkered too much with it, because right now that's the fun. Either you stack overpower, either you stack vulnerable, or you're going to be stacking critical strike damage, or you stack all three of them together to have the multiplicative work into each other. I mean, maybe they're going to make them work additive instead of multiplicative, but that would be kind of sad and kind of break the whole system. This one has me worried because Blizzard has shown to be really deaf to what people actually want in that regard. And that was a lot of the season 1 debacle that came together when they started to tinker with these. Benefit of the doubt. If they still deserve it. Last but not least, because I'm going to say Baldur's Gate forced them to do it. We have more efficient inventory management for gems. They no longer take up inventory spaces. That's a minimal thing, but they also added that stash can now be searched and filtered, which should have absolutely been a feature that is in since day one. But hey, a filterable stash and a searchable stash, I'm just happy that I have. Honestly, I don't care if it should be at launch, should be at season 0. I'm just happy that I'm getting it right now. I've been sitting so much in my inventory trying to find the right items, and being able to now finally just click the aspect I'm looking for will have me not in shambles. Compared to season 1, I hope that this season has a little bit more functionality to offer, because season 1 was really the Malignant Hearts and then the Malignant Tunnels, and they kind of missed out on doing more with the Malignancy. I said it at the very beginning of the video. I want a Helltide Vampire. I want a Legion event that is also vampires. I want Strongholds potentially reworked, that all Strongholds have a vampire infestation too. Because this whole seasonal mechanic is a Dark Master newly turned army of Ravenous vampires had set their sight on Sanctuary. So the vampires should be everywhere. It shouldn't just be randomly, like in a certain set way. It should be infecting Sanctuary. It would be nice if we also had a new world boss that could appear every now and then. There's also a vampire themed world boss for that season. It's these small things that make a big difference. We have the Legion events. There is an army of vampires coming. Where's the Vampire Legion event? Every Legion event has also a new end boss that is also vampire themed, or the current end boss is vampire infected. If it used to be the guy in the Temple of Rot, that guy in the Temple of Rot is then always going to be a super vampire and whatsoever. But use what you're doing. Spread the corruption, spread the vampirism everywhere. Are you excited for season 2? Does this have you pumped? Are you going to play it again? End of the day, it is for free. Tell me in the comments below, and if you're looking to already, well, go into the theme of the vampire season, Blood Surge or Bloodlands, 2 builds for you. Enjoy.